right. Good morning. Once again, like I said, my name is Hakeem Floyd. I am the local veteran employment representative here for Career Source Tampa Bay. I would like to welcome everybody to our Veterans Networking Group. This networking group is for veteran individuals who are looking to receive resources and information and also job opportunities within the Hillsborough County area. Today, uh, actually, before I hand it over to our presenter today, I would like to inform everybody that we do have a couple job fairs going on at this time. Um, today we have which starts today at 10 o'clock, we have our virtual hiring event that we have partnered up with the Veterans Hospital, the James A. Haley VA Hospital. The job fair will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. There's going to be over 40 employers with over 1,000 job opportunities within the area. So if you're looking for a specific position, you can log on to the website, careersource.com/job fair, careersourcetb.com/job fair, and register and move on to the job fair. We also have another job fair coming up in 2 days on Thursday. This one is a hospitality and tourism hiring event. This one is more related towards job seekers who are looking to find a position, a temporary or part-time position due to the Super Bowl that will be here. This is a direct related position for companies that's going to be assisting the Super Bowl and the NFL experience. So if you're looking for a part-time job to be able to assist you during the Super Bowl in February, you can also register on the website right here, careersourcetb.com/job fair. That job fair will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I will actually also, before like I said, hand it over to our presenter, I would like to see if my supervisor, Mr. Bill Farnan, has anything to include to our veterans here. So do you have anything at this time?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our bi-weekly Veterans Networking Group event. We're glad to see that you're here. As Hakeem mentioned, please be sure to visit the job fair that we have going on as this event is also occurring in conjunction with James A. Haley VA Center. And then on Thursday, if you know of anyone that is looking for a part-time temporary position in February when the Green Bay Packers are here to win the Super Bowl. Please make sure that they are available here on Thursday. On Thursday, we will have that'll be an outdoor event in the parking lot. So we're looking forward to a lot of folks showing up for that. Welcome, everyone. I'll turn it back over to Hakeem, and please make sure that you talk to all your friends. Have them come and join us every other week on here because you will get some great information. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that, sir. As I said, we have a presenter today. We have Mr. Dwayne Kimball of VA Consulting, KMD 89, which is a VA. He's a VA claims consultant, veteran-owned business of his own. This is his own business. We will hand it over to him. Mr. Dwayne, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, how we doing, Keem, and everyone attending? Do I have the capability to share my screen?
Yes, sir. You should. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
There you go. Yep.
Show device details. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Is it under the 3 dots?
No, sir. It should be at the top right next to the leave button. It's like a box with the arrow to share content. It's probably at the bottom of your page. It's at the top of mine, but it's.
Yeah, I just see the camera, the microphone, open share tray, 3 dots. Keypad, turn off the coming video, show meetings details.
Hold on 1 second. We go inside. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's actually giving you. It should give you access. It's open.
Okay, hold on. Okay, did it come up?
Yes, sir.
All right.
PowerPoint.
Okay. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's still up, correct? I just want to make sure before I.
No, it's actually showing myself now.
Okay, hold up. Let me move it over.
There you go.
Hold up. Okay. Did it go away? Man, I'm running 3 screens here, so just bear with me.
Yes, sir. We just have your main Windows page at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we have your slide right now.
You can see the entire slide. I want to make sure.
It's small screen.
Okay.
The slide to the small. Yeah. Maybe. And it just shows that your next slide is. There you go.
How about, okay. All right. Now we got it. I'm running 3 screens here, so I do apologize. Good morning, everyone. Like Akeem said, my name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89 VA Claims Consulting, Leave No Vet Behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. Today, we're going to be talking about what you need to know about the VA disability compensation claims process. I get asked so many questions about the process and veterans being frustrated with it. So Akeem and I, we talked and, put together a short slide. And by all means, as I go through this presentation, please feel free to ask any questions. We got about 16 slides, and also you'll have some time at the end to ask some questions as well. Okay. All right, just a quick disclaimer. The disclaimer is I'm not, KMD is not holding itself out as a claims agent or providing advice, or we're not a law firm. We only educate veterans on the claims process so they may be able to maximize their benefits. In no way by you attending this presentation today means that you're a client of KMD 89 Consulting, or we guarantee any benefits from you taking this presentation. I always encourage veterans to ensure that they go out and do the proper research as it pertains to their particular claim, because every claim is a little bit different. Okay, each individual veteran's claim is a little bit different as it pertains to the VA compensation claims process. So what is VA disability compensation? VA disability compensation is a tax-free monetary benefit paid to veterans that is a direct result of disease or injury incurred or aggravated during active military service. A lot of veterans miss this piece of it. They think that, because maybe they were in a car accident last week, or something happened on the job, they could claim that benefit, particular disability diagnosis before the VA and possibly get service connected for it. But there's some things that needs to happen before that, and one of them is being educated on this process. Okay, just myself, I went 12 years after I exited my military service before applying for benefits, because I didn't know. I didn't even know I could get treatment at the VA. I knew about the VA, but I thought it was like for Vietnam vets or something like that. So I just never asked a question. And I knew people that were veterans, but they never mentioned that I could possibly get compensated for the injuries I sustained on active duty. All right, things you should know before trying to obtain benefits. We'll go through these pretty quick because I definitely want to leave some time at the end for questions. But one, get off the sideline and get in the game. These are your benefits. Like I said, 12 years and I didn't even apply. And when I did apply, it was my second day on the job when I used to work for the Department of Veterans Affairs as a rating specialist. That's what I did before I retired from the VA a couple of years ago. Okay. Confirm that you're eligible for VA disability compensation. And we'll get into one of the slides that we'll get into. I'll talk about the 5 different ways of service connection, and I'll break those down. Okay. Know what conditions you want to claim. For example, if you were treated in service for migraines, if you had a TBI, if you were exposed to Agent Orange, something like that, knowing what's on the Agent Orange list that the VA has conceded, basically stating if you were exposed to Agent Orange, the conditions that they've conceded that you can claim. Okay. Knowing if you're eligible for those claim conditions, again, under the 5 ways of service connection, we'll get into those one in the next slide. Know the correct rating schedule criteria for each condition you're claiming. For example, if you're claiming migraines, what is the criteria for 0% for migraines? What is the criteria for 30%? What is the criteria for 50%? Okay, knowing what that criteria is. So if you were treated or diagnosed or complain about migraines in service and you're able to get an exam by the VA, you know the criteria for that particular condition and any other condition that you're claiming. A lot of veterans, they don't know that. They get to the CMP exam and they just start talking. And if you don't know where you fall for that in that criteria for that particular condition, you can lose out on possibly certain level of compensation benefits. Okay. If you're already service connected, confirm if your disability is at its maximum evaluation. Again, I talk to a lot of veterans on a daily, weekly basis, and they'll say, well, I'm service connected for tinnitus. Tinnitus is ringing in the ears, and it's normally at 10%. That's the only evaluation that you could receive for that. And people, they'll come in and say, oh, I want to claim an increase for my tinnitus. Well, tinnitus is only granted at 10%. You can't get a 20, 30, 40, or 50 unless you have some type of surgery, and then it may be temporary at that point. So knowing if you are service connected for a condition, knowing what percentage you're service connected at for that particular condition and where it maxes out. Some max out at 100%, but not all do. Some max out at 50%. A couple of examples of those are migraines and sleep apnea. The highest that you can get for those are 50%. Okay. Know how long your disability has been service connected for before filing for an increase. And this pertains to veterans being reduced for a particular benefit. So for example, if you're service connected for PTSD at 50%, or let's say 70%, and that 70% has been in effect less than 5 years, and you feel that the condition is worsened and you're going for an increase, and you go to an exam, but that exam now shows that you warrant a 50%, then the VA can possibly reduce that. But if it's been in effect more than 5 years, then the VA needs 2 exams that shows improvement before they can do a proposal to reduce. So that in itself, the whole protection rule in itself is probably about an hour compensation. But again, just know if you are service connected, know how long that percentage has been in effect for that particular condition before you go in for an increase. All right. Filing a claim without a game plan and a plan of attack. I see a lot of veterans putting the cart before the horse. They're just throwing something at the wall, hoping something sticks. And sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you can find yourself in a world of frustration. Okay. So make sure you sit down, you come up with a plan of attack. Obviously, attending one of these presentations will help give you a little bit better insight and educate you a little bit more so you can be successful in maximizing your benefits. Submitting unnecessary paperwork. And what I mean by that is if you're claiming migraines. Okay, we just use that as an example. Does it really make sense to send an MRI report in about a big toe, an X-ray you had, an MRI or X-ray you had on your big toe? I always tell people less is more. But again, it's going to depend on what you're trying to do before the VA with your particular claim. But sending in like 1,000 or 1,500 pages for something, remember, someone has to manually look at that. And VA employees are on a quota. Okay, they're on a daily and biweekly quota, and they're limited. They have limited time to look at stuff. So you want to make it easy. You want to make it easier on them, especially when your claim gets in front of someone. You don't want them to have to send you a letter and then you go back to the end of the line. You want to progress to that next stage in that process. Okay, long and unclear statements. If you write a 2 or 3 page letter, the way I may interpret that information could be different than the next person. So short, sweet, to the point should answer the what, when, why, and how. Okay. Incorrect wording on a claim form can confuse the VA employee and prolong the claim. What I mean by that is, let's just say you claim, I'm claiming a knee condition. Okay. Is that a claim? Yes and no. You have 2 knees. Which knee are you claiming? Okay. So if you claim a knee condition, they may send you a letter asking you for clarification if it's the left or right knee. And when they do that, you go back to the end of the line. And what I mean by that is they'll send you a letter and it pauses your claim for 30 days. Put a claim level suspense on it is what they call it, for 30 days. Okay. And then at the end of that 30 days, it doesn't mean that someone's going to look at it. It might be that 45th or 50th or maybe 60th day. And then when they look at it and you didn't respond or it's unclear again, they may send you another letter. So depending on what you're doing and how you worded it, it could be 3 or 4 months down the road before someone gets in and says, okay, yep, the veteran wants a CMP exam. Then it may take another month, especially during COVID-19. Some areas, depending on where you're located, veterans are getting in really quick. I've seen veterans in the DC area file a claim, and in 2 weeks they get a CMP exam. I've seen veterans here in Florida, certain parts, a rural area of Florida, they submit a claim. It may be a month or 2 before they hear that they've been scheduled for a CMP exam. So you don't want to lose your place in line. You want to make sure when you submit that claim, all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Okay. Best of the compensation and pension exam. I think the VA has been doing a really good job during this time of COVID-19 of scheduling exams because they have 3 private contractor organizations that they contract with to keep up with the workload during this whole COVID-19. But, life happens. Sometimes you have to miss an exam. And if you do, you definitely want to call the 800 call center and let them know, hey, I missed it because, I was sick. I've known veterans say, hey, I had COVID-19. So they had to, reschedule their appointments and stuff like that. So you just don't want to miss it and tell somebody. But I know a lot of veterans that had to reschedule for whatever reason with these third-party contractors, and they were able to do that and get them in the following week or within a couple of weeks. Okay. Incorrect DBQ, disability benefit questionnaire. DBQs came out a few years back, and it was on the VA's website. They have since removed them, and a lot of veterans are thinking that the VA is no longer accepting, and that's incorrect. But there is an inconsistency within the VA, because I've heard VA employees, some of them say, oh no, the VA is not accepting these DBQs, and other VA employees say, yes, we are. And I've known other veterans to submit DBQs and be successful. Okay, so DBQs are exams that can be completed by the veteran's private examiner, but the VA removed them from their website, I believe, April 27th of this year. And there was an Inspector General report about that, so I won't go into too much detail, but there are the VA is still accepting DBQs, and as long as they're actionable and sufficient for rating purposes. Okay, the 5 ways of service connection. If you don't take anything else from this presentation, this is the main slide. Okay, and I'll just briefly go through these, but the 5 ways of service connection. So for whatever condition you're thinking about claiming, as I go through these, figure out where does that condition fall. If it does not fall under one of these 5 ways of service connection, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get denied. Okay, so the first one, pre-service aggravation. Pre-service aggravation means you had a condition before you entered military service, and the military, your military service aggravated. For example, I claimed when I went on active duty, and I got a copy of my claims folder from the VA. On my entrance exam, it showed moderate flat feet. While I was in service, I complained of foot pain. Once I exited active duty, I sought treatment for foot pain. So I claimed bilateral pes planus flat feet as a pre-service aggravation condition, stating that my military service aggravated my flat feet, and now I have severe. It went from moderate to severe. So that would be an example of pre-service aggravation. Okay. Now the second one, direct service connection. Direct service connection is possibly, I think, the maybe 90% of the claims veterans claiming on direct service connection. Okay, so direct service connection, you need to show one, a current diagnosis, and also the current diagnosis in your service treatment records. It needs to show a treatment, complaint, diagnosis, or injury in service, and it needs to be documented. Now, there may be some other conditions. If you're claiming a back condition due to you being awarded the parachute badge, that will still be under direct service connection, because the parachute badge would be on your DD 214. Okay, showing you attended that school, or you were stationed at Fort Bragg or whatever in service. Okay, so it needs to be documented. All right. Secondary service connection. Secondary service connection means that you're service connected for a condition, and now it has caused something else. For example, if you're service connected for your right knee, and you need for example, you need a right knee replacement, you've been putting it off, and now you're starting to shift your body weight over to the left knee, and your left knee starts to hurt. You could claim left knee secondary to right knee, and possibly get service connected for it. So that's what it means by secondary. Also, say for example, you're service connected for PTSD, and you're taking medication for it. And some of the side effects from that one of the side effects from that medication is migraines. Then you could claim migraines secondary to the medication you're taking for your service connected PTSD, and possibly get service connected for it. Okay. Increase, you're already service connected for a condition, and you believe that condition has worsened. So on that previous slide, when I talked about knowing the percentage for that particular condition you're service connected for, and knowing the next higher criteria. Okay, so if you know, again, you're service connected at, for example, 30% for migraines, and you feel you want to file an increase, then you need to go to the rating scheduler, and we'll talk about that in the next slide, what that is, and seek the criteria for the 50%. And then if you feel if you don't meet it, then you don't have to file an increase. But if you feel that you meet that criteria for 50%, then you can file an increase for that. All right. The last way of service connection is presumptive. And there's several presumptives: Agent Orange presumptive, 1 year, 3 year, 7 year, Gulf War, and Camp Lejeune contaminated water presumptive. Now, when you look at Agent Orange and Gulf War and Camp Lejeune, all of them have a specific time frame. Okay. So 1 year meaning 1 year after service, 3 year, within 3 years after service, 7 year, 7 years after service. Now each one not only has a time frame, but each one has a list of conditions. So there's certain conditions for, let's say, Agent Orange. There's Agent Orange list under 38 CFR 3.309E, the list tropical diseases. So if you have a diagnosis that's on that list, and you can confirm that your brown water, blue water, or boots on ground, the Agent Orange period, or service in Thailand, or the Korean, along the Korean DMZ in a specific unit, specific time frame, you have the diagnosis, then you can claim it and get service connection for that condition under Agent Orange. And that goes for all the different ones. Okay. So again, that's why it's important for each vet to go out and do their own research, because this, when it comes into play, the education comes into play, because every claim is a little bit different. Okay. So you may have to go out for your Vietnam vet and your claim is something due to the Agent Orange. Then you want to go out and look at that 38 CFR as it pertains to Agent Orange, getting the correct diagnosis, make sure it's on that list, and then submit it on the correct form. All right. So before I move on to the next slide, do we have any questions up until this point?
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, the biggest challenge with me, and I've been rejected for the last 20 years. I suffered a knee injury in the hangar bay on an aircraft carrier. And the problem is I spent a month and a half or 6 weeks in medical with a cast on, and after that with crutches and limited duty, and they can't find that in my medical records, and that's been the biggest challenge.
Okay, so if they can't find it, it's like it's never happened in the eyes of the VA.
Exactly. What kind of research can I do to get my hands on that?
One thing I did, do you have a copy of your claims file?
I do have a copy, not on me, but I do have it. Yes.
Okay. Did you review it to see if the incident is in there?
I did review it line for line. Can't find it.
Yeah. So more than likely, that's something that you never get service connected for, because the VA would have to make the determination, or they have to see it somewhere in your medical records in that instance. Because remember when I said the first slide, when I talked about the definition of VA compensation, injuries sustained on active duty, and one way that they confirm that is your medical records. I got a copy on CD here. It took about 11 months to get it, but they sent me a copy of my CD. Now, what happened? That's why I asked if you had a copy, because my first claim, they said it wasn't in my medical records. My medical records was that thick. It wasn't a lot, maybe 80 pages at the most. Okay. And when I got a copy of it, guess what I found? I was claiming flat feet. They denied it, said you weren't treated in service for it. I'm like, wait a minute. And when I got a copy, I'm like, I got a copy of the records that you reviewed, and I see it in there multiple times. So if it wasn't in there, I would never got service connected for it.
Now, where did you get your records from? I was in Virginia. I was living in Arlington at the time when I started this, and I would go to, Roanoke, I think was the main hub for the VA there. Can I request my VA records from other than them? I don't think I have the complete records, I'm thinking.
Okay. I submitted a FOIA request to the VA. I don't know how they sign up, but I could email that information to Akeem if he has the individual's emails that's on this presentation today, you can submit it. So it was just basically, I submitted a VA Form 21-4138 to Janesville, Wisconsin, which is the Department of Veterans Affairs Intake Center. They received it, I want to say, on the 8th or 16th of January, and I just received this the week of Thanksgiving. And when I went on e-benefits, I was doing some work with a veteran, showing them around e-benefits. I saw that they had closed my request, and I was like, wait a minute, I haven't got my CD. So I started calling. I called the VA White House hotline, filed a complaint, did an IRIS inquiry, and like the next day this came. So I'm assuming that due to, you know, the mail being a little bit late, and then about 2 days after that, I got an overnight envelope from St. Louis with another CD, you know, so they sent me, got like two. So I will start there, submit that FOIA request, and I'll send that information to Hakeem, and maybe he could share with everybody on here. Because if you get a copy of that and spend time, it took me about 2 hours to go through this CD. Okay. But I did look for my medical records from service. They even had my orders taking me to basic training in there. So they had my personnel, my 201 file in there as well. All of my awards, orders for awards and stuff like that. So I went through and and they did a good job of titling everything. So it made it a little bit easier to follow, and everything was in chronological order too. But I would try there. All right.
All right, that's good. Good answer. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Now, wait a minute. Yeah. Now,
I was saying, Mr. Dwayne, we also have another message in here. Did you want to finish up with Mr. Fred, or you want to move on to the next section? Because we do have one more question.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can ask a question. Yeah, go ahead.
In a chat, they said, Peter Peterson said, buddy statements. I heard that your fellow service members at the time of the incident can submit a buddy statement on your behalf. This can include family members. I'm guessing he's asking, is that true?
Yeah, you can. I never submitted any buddy letters just because me personally, I didn't think that they would help at the rater level. Now it may help at BVA Board of Veterans Appeals if you're going before a judge, but again, that's an option that you have. If you had, like the last gentleman say, he fell in a hangar bay, if he knew someone that was there and witnessed that, or you know, if his spouse, if he was married and his spouse knew he was in the hospital, yeah, they could write a lay statement, a buddy statement. How much weight that's going to hold is going to depend on the rating specialist. Again, I've seen people use buddy statements and still get denied if it wasn't documented in the service treatment records. But again, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm saying don't try it. You know, try it and see where it falls, and then, you know, if you have to go to BVA Board of Veterans Appeals to a judge, that may help. They have a little bit more leeway in granting benefits, especially in cases like this. So definitely, I would say just try it and see what happens. So the next slide is a rating schedule, and the rating schedule is broken down in several categories. I'm just going to show, if everybody can see this. This is what I use when I used to work for the VA. This is a rating schedule. This is the paper copy, and it's broken down. I had it tabbed by body system. So you have the musculoskeletal system, which is like the back, neck, your feet, flat feet, and all the muscles, organs of special sense, your vision. The auditory is hearing, infectious diseases, respiratory conditions, allergic rhinitis, sinusitis, cardiovascular, coronary artery disease, hypertension falls underneath that. Digestive, it's your GERD, genitourinary system, gynecological system, hemic and lymphemic systems, the endocrine system. That's where you have your diabetes, neurological conditions, TBI, migraines, sciatic and femoral nerve conditions, mental conditions, obviously PTSD, schizophrenia, major depression, that falls underneath there. Then lastly, you have dental, which you have TMJ falls under dental. Okay, so whatever condition you're claiming, where you go and find the different percentages and the criteria for those percentages, the rating schedule, and you can find this on the VA's website. I know exactly where it's at because I'm always in it, at least daily. But you want to familiarize yourself, especially if you get all the conditions that you're service connected for, then you can go into the rating schedule and you can see, okay, they gave me 20%. How did I get that? What is that 20% criteria? What is the next higher for that condition? Is it 30, 40, 50? And do you meet that criteria? It's all in the rating schedule, okay? New forms, if you disagree with decision of a rating, okay? So if you're denied a condition and you want to go back in and reopen that condition, claim it again, it's called a supplemental claim, okay? And when you submit a supplemental claim, you need new evidence. New evidence is evidence that was not previously used in any other rating decision for that particular condition, okay? They initially denied me for a back condition. I was trying to get into the VA in my primary care to complain about my back pain. It was going to take a couple of months. I went to a local urgent care, and when you leave the urgent care, they give you a progress report of why you were there, right? That's what I used as new evidence to reopen my claim. And then later on, I was eventually service connected, okay? Higher level review. And higher level review is new. It used to be called appeals. I still call it appeals because that's what I'm used to saying. So if you hear me say appeals, I'm talking about higher level review. When you submit a higher level review, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot submit new evidence. They're looking to see if a mistake was previously made, whether it be in not granting service connection, or if you were granted service connection, was the percentage right? Was the effective date correct? Okay, so again, you have to be not only educated on the VA claims process, but you got to be educated on how that process affects what you're doing. I appealed 8 different things. Some of them were service connection, effective date, and the percentage. When I went into that appeals, I knew exactly what was in my claim folder. I didn't have, it wasn't on CD. I usually have my folder here in my office, but it's 2 volumes. It's about that thick. I knew exactly what I was appealing, how I was appealing it, and what the VA should have done. And now those 8 conditions, at the end of that appeal session, I won all 8, okay? Because I was educated on what I was doing with my claim, all right? So again, you can't submit new evidence, but what they do now, what I like about the high level review / appeals, they give you an informal conference. So the person that calls you, they should have already reviewed your claim by this point, okay? And you can ask certain questions. Again, you know, when I talk to veterans, they just start talking. They got that person on the phone, they just start talking about everything. That's the wrong time to do a lot of talking. Figure out, okay, what are you appealing? You know, what are you claiming a high level review for? What are you appealing? Should you be service connected? What evidence did you submit? Did you submit a DBQ? Was it sufficient? Was it in person? Was it completed correctly? You know, so you have to make sure all that is taken into consideration before you even get on the phone, okay? Then you have appeal to a Board of Veterans Appeals. That's what I was talking about earlier, BVA. If you have to go that route, it's going to take some time. The wait times used to be over 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know what they are now. I do know judges are doing a lot of hearings by video, but I don't know what their backlog is at this point. But again, when you get there, you want to be educated on what's going on with your claim. Why are you appealing it? Why you feel you should be service connected? What evidence do you have, and what evidence you can submit during that BVA hearing. So it's not unheard of that you can't win an appeal. You just want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. How do you apply for benefits? And Akeem, let me know if how I'm doing on time. If I need to cut it short a little bit, just let me know. We only have about 6 slides left. Okay.
You're good to go, sir. You're good to go.
Okay. All right. So how do you apply? There's several ways you can apply. You can go to ebenefits.va.gov. I think that's changed. It takes you to a different website, but you can start there, or you can do it by mailing and faxing it in. I never used eBenefits. My first claim that I did back in 2009, they had a online program. It wasn't eBenefits. It was something else. I can't even remember the name of it. I did it that way. But after that, I mailed, or you couldn't fax it in because it was all paper. So you either had to go through this particular website or mail it in. I always mailed it in. And even my last claim, after they did have eBenefits and the intake center, I still didn't do it on eBenefits. I mailed it in, I faxed it, and then I turned around and I mailed it. Okay. I just, me personally, I didn't trust eBenefits. And you're limited. I think you're limited, especially when you're trying to word things a certain way. You know, they just say, hey, you know, what are you claiming? Right knee condition. That's it. You can't explain or go into a little bit of detail. So I always, you know, faxed it, completed all the claim forms, and I faxed it and I mailed it, and I made sure I kept a copy. Okay, a lot of veterans will send in stuff, or they will have a representative and they'll say, oh, well, I did this or I did that. I'm like, oh, well, how did you do it? Oh, I don't know. My rep did it. Well, did they send you a copy? No. So you have no clue of what they wrote down. You should be requesting that information from your VSO if you have one, or your lawyer. Or better yet, you could complete the paperwork and send it to them and have them submit it if you want. But I didn't do that. I did everything on my own. I had made sure I was educated on the claims process and submitted everything on my own. That way I knew I had a copy and I was still able to maximize my benefits. All right.
We have a question inside of the chat again.
Okay.
Mr. Peterson says, I have a claim for an issue that was deferred to the VA for review. Does that mean that I need to appeal, or does that mean that I just need to be seen at the VA and do another C&P exam?
Read that first part again for me, Akeem.
I have a claim for an issue that was deferred to the VA for review.
That's hard to say because I'm not looking at everything, but when the VA defers something, that means they defer it either for like an exam, or they defer it because they need additional information. If you receive, or I'm assuming that the veteran received.
He said it's for an exam, sir. He said for an exam, yes.
Okay, so you received a rating decision, and in that rating decision, they stated they have to grant something. So if they defer something in a rating decision, that means they had to grant something. So they granted something, but they had enough information to grant that condition, give you the increase or whatever, but then they deferred the other condition for C&P exam. So what that means is they granted you the increase or granted you service connection for that condition, but a deferred issue, they have to schedule a C&P exam for that deferred issue. So which is a good thing. You have C&P exam, so you move to the next level. But again, depending on if it's a claim for increase or if it's a new claim, you want to make sure you know the criteria for whatever that condition that was deferred for a C&P exam.
He said at the time nothing was rated, just to let you know.
Okay.
He said correction, the issue was not rated. Yeah, correction, the issue was not rated. It was not rated.
Okay. Yeah, that's odd because they can't send you a rating decision and Well, I guess my question would be, where did you see it was deferred? I'm in the chat now, Akeem, so I could see it too.
Yes, sir.
Well,
And I have a question for you.
Okay.
Once you answer his.
All right. Well, the deferred issue is not going to be rated. What I mean is, if you had multiple conditions and they took issue in the rating decision with some of those conditions, but they deferred the condition that you're talking about, yes, it wouldn't be rated. But what I meant by that was, in order for them to defer something in a rating decision, something else that you claimed had to be taken issue with in that rating. They can't send you a rating decision with on one issue and say, oh, we're deferring that issue. They can't do that. Okay, yeah, you were rated for other issues. So, yeah, like I said, they will rate the other issues because they have enough information to do so. But your condition, that particular condition you're talking about, was deferred. That just means, and you say they deferred it for a CMP exam. So that's a good thing. Yeah, go ahead, Akeem.
I actually had a question about the higher level claims that you were speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that there was no more, they don't need to input any more information. So it's pretty much a claim that you're putting in saying that the VA was wrong. So when it comes to that, how's that process? Is that also mailed in also? Is there a certain form that needs to be done? Because I'm having that.
Okay. Yeah, that form, I had it on there. I'm gonna go back to the slide. Look to the far left, and it's a VA form 20-0995. I'm sorry.
Oh, it is the 20. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Tyler Review, VA form 20-0996. That's the form. Okay. And you can submit it to one of these. Like I said, the bottom two is what I did. That was just my personal choice, but each his own. I did it. You could fax it to this location, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Intake Center. I'm sorry, you can mail it there and then fax it. That's the fax number down below. Okay. And that's the same place that the gentleman earlier, when we were talking about the FOIA request. I'll leave that up for a second, where you can submit, and I'll put, let me try and find this form.
So if you want to put it inside the chat, that would be helpful.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. It's a form on the VA's website. See if I can, there we go. I can make sure I find the link. Okay, on the VA's website, and I'll put it in the chat window. Yep. So if you click on that link, that's the VA form for the FOIA request. And on the FOIA request, you can just state, I'm requesting a copy of my entire claims file to include my service treatment records from military service, all of my rating decisions to include the rating code sheet. And the VA doesn't send out that code sheet, and that's important because it lists all the conditions, the percentages, and the dates that they granted that percentage. Okay. So you want a complete copy, and you can state that you want it on a CD. So this form, you can put that information on it, and the address and the fax number that you see on your screen, send it there. That's what I did, and that's how I got a copy of my CD. Okay. I'll leave that up for a couple of seconds if people, but you said you were recording this, right, Akeem? So
yes,
they can always go back and look at it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's the way I received a copy of my claims folder. All right. Okay. Benefits for 100% rating. And it's I have a YouTube channel, and I have about 45 videos. I do monthly live streams, And I cannot tell you, I did a video on this, and I think it got like 15,000 views and amount. I mean, that's huge for me, but you know, other videos I see, they get that in like 3 or 4 hours and them upload it. But me, you know, it was a lot for me. But what that tells me is a lot of veterans that are able to reach that 100% permanent and total, just not 100%, but 100% permanent and total, chapter 35. Because I talk to veterans, they'll say, oh, I'm 100%. First question I ask them, are you permanent and total? Did you get chapter 35? And they're like, what's that? And if you're not permanent and total, you will miss out on these benefits. All right. So let's jump into them right quick. No, you don't have to pay any property taxes on your home here in the state of Florida. Each state is a little bit different. So if you're not here in Florida, check with your county appraisal's office. Okay. Now, if you are here in Florida, I live in Apollo Beach, just south of Tampa. But let's say you live in Tampa on Bayshore Boulevard or Davis Island or Harbor Island. Man, those taxes, they might be paying, I don't know, maybe $3-4 grand, or maybe more than that, $5 grand a month just in property taxes. So if you're a veteran, live in South Tampa or Davis Island, Harbor Island, you don't have to pay any property taxes. Now, if you're 100% without the P&T, you're paying property taxes. But if you do have P&T, you don't have to pay property taxes on your home in the state of Florida. And that's only for one home. So you can't go out and buy like 5 or 6 homes and get this benefit on all homes, okay? Dependents receive monthly income from the federal government. A lot of veterans make the misconception that your dependent's entire college is paid for. That's not the case, but I'm gonna break it down for you. So the veteran dependent is going full time. Right now, I believe it's between $1,200 and $1,300 a month. Could obviously it's going to go up do COLA increase after the first of the year. But right now, if they have 12 semester hours and they're carrying a full load, it's between $1,200 and $1,300. The federal government will send that check or deposit those funds to the dependent, not the veteran, but to the dependent. So if you had them on your award before they enter college and you were getting paid for them, you'll lose that, okay? But the dependent will receive that benefit, okay? So that $1,200 or $1,300 will go straight to the dependent. And then the state of Florida, you can apply through the state of Florida and they will pay that dependent's tuition. So let's just say they're going to USF, University of Southern Florida. They're full-time and they live on campus. The federal government would give them that monthly stipend, and then the state of Florida would pay that tuition. Now, as it comes to meals and room and board, the vet is still responsible for that. Okay, but that's still a huge benefit, right? Now, I'm gonna get into another slide that may help with some clarification on getting some additional monies for the dependent. Okay, then also you have the license plate that's $4. Here in Hillsborough County, I think the taxes is 8% on that. I just renewed mine, and at $4 went up to $8 because I didn't want to go to the DMV. So I got charged a credit card fee, and then I got charged another fee to mail it. So it came out to like $8. So it was like $2 fee for each one. But if I'd have went in to the DMV, it just would have been the $4 along with the taxes. Okay. Free entrance to state and federal parks, medical care at the VA, MC, no cost. Check new guidelines. Once you get service connected and you go do your orientation at the local VA medical center, check the benefits, because one thing with VA, things always change. Okay, so you got to stay up to date on those changes. Free parking at the airport and cruise terminals. When you go to Tampa International Airport, you have that DV tag. You can park in short term. You could be there a whole month. When you leave, tell the attendant, hey, I have DV tags. You don't have to pay for parking. Now, if you are 100% permanent and total and you do not have DV tags, I would suggest you call the airport parking, the company that's in charge of the parking locations, and ask them, what can you bring to show than your permanent total. Okay. Somebody just put in states offering free college to veterans, independents, and college recon. Hey, thanks, Peter, for sharing that. So again, the free parking, if you don't have a DV tag, I would suggest call ahead. And I think you can use it. You can use it. Last time I checked, in the channel side parking garage. Now, I don't know if you can use that if you're just going to I'm not e-board, but if you're just going to channel side or the local area, or if you have to prove that, hey, I'm on one of the cruise ships. So you could call and make sure you check that, okay, when you can use it. Discharge of student loans. We're going to get into that next, okay? So benefits for 100% permanent total rating continue. Student loans. Okay. When you are 100% permanent total, and this is all these benefits that I'm talking about, veterans say, oh, I'm 100%, but they don't know that they can receive other benefits if they have that permanent total Chapter 35 status, okay? I can't tell you how many veterans I talked to, and they said, oh, I'm 100%. I asked them, how long you been 100%? Oh, about 5 years. You own your own home? Yep. Got kids in college? Yep. But they couldn't get any of those benefits because they didn't know that for some reason the VA scheduled a routine future on one of those conditions. That's why even though they were 100%, they weren't permanent or total, because the VA has deemed that one of those conditions may improve later. So they missed out. So imagine paying taxes on your home for 5 years that you could have gotten an exemption for, and your dependents could have received that money. I know a veteran had 2 girls and they went through college at USF. He was paying property tax and he paid working overtime and all that, paying for their college. Then he became 100% after they were gone out, graduated and married. But he's getting the tax exemption now. But just think about what he was entitled to before then, all because he didn't know. Okay. And guess what? Guess where he worked? At the VA. Man, I was like, and I didn't find out about a lot of these benefits until after my, 4th year at the VA. And nobody was sharing this information. So when I found out about it, I was going to other coworkers' desks that I knew. I'm like, hey, guess what? You can get, discharge this student loan and this and that, But back then, the discharge of the student loan, you had to report. They sent you a 1099. You had to report that as income. And one of my coworkers, I think his was like 80,000 between his undergraduate loans and graduate loans. And he was like, man, they saying I got to pay in 2,000. Okay. Do you rather pay the 2,000 income, and back to the IRS, or pay 80,000 without the accumulated interest, for the rest of your life? And so he got it where I think he ended up getting like $200 back or something. But now, as of February 2018, and this is a benefit that's offered outside of the VA. The VA grants the benefit to Chapter 35 permanent total, but the Department of Education, you have to call them to get everything discharged. And as of February, I think 2018, you no longer have to count that as income. They just discharge it, and it's a one-time benefit. So if you're in college and you're still taking out student loans, you might not want to use this benefit because once it's a one-time benefit. Okay. Now, when I was talking about dependents on the last slide, right? And they have to pay for room and board, but they get that monthly stipend. And once the state, you submit the application to the state and they start paying the tuition. What about the other fees? How do those get paid? Well, if you look at these student loans, and I would say, I think I got the website on the next slide. Yeah, I got the website on the next slide and the 800 number. So make sure you go there and do your own research. But let's just think outside the box. What if there's a loan, and I don't know this for sure, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know which loan it is, if it's a subsidized federal Stanford loan or federal plus loan. Let's say the veteran takes out a student loan for their dependent, and it's in the veteran's name. So it's like the veteran is taking out their loan. I think that the veterans should be able to discharge that once they become 100%, if they're 100% P&T. And so that student loan could be, those funds could be used for room and board and meal plan. But find out here, find out if there's a loan program out there, and I think it is. I just can't think, and it could have been one of those loans I had on that slide. But it's something for veterans to think about. Okay, so this is the part where you got to go out and you got to do the research. And if it is that particular loan, when you call this 800 number, one of the questions you're going to ask is, hey, if I take out this student loan in my name for my dependent, I'm 100% P&T, will you all discharge it? And if they do, then you could take that loan out, okay, pay for the room and board, the books or whatever, and then once the dependents graduate, you discharge the loan. So it's something to think about, but definitely ask a question. It's a benefit that is handled outside of the VA, but it's a benefit that you have to be granted this benefit through the Department of Veterans Affairs, but the benefit after that, it goes through the U.S. Department of Education. Okay, but it's something to think about. And again, I talk about it. I put this in this presentation because a lot of veterans don't know about it. Okay, a lot of veterans do not know about it. I was working with a client, and they have 3 young kids. They live on the water. He was able to get a Purple Heart recipient. He was able to get 100% P&T. They have young kids. So guess what? Their majority of college is going to be paid for in a sense because they're going to be able to utilize the monthly stipend. So I think their youngest may be like 1. So by that time, it could be $2,500 a month. So if you had 3 kids in college all at the same time, you may not have to. I think Florida has a program where you could pay them every month and have like this nest egg or whatever. I think if the dependents are receiving this monthly stipend and the state of Florida is paying their tuition, man, I wish I had that when I was in college because I had to pay my own way through college. That's probably like 75, 85% of the cost, depending on where they're going to school. Okay. Peter put in guide to veterans scholarship by state affordable colleges online. Yeah, and that's I don't know, Peter, if this is this website down here at the bottom, the Florida Student Financial Aid.org. Pretty sure they could get there. I went there when my son was using that benefit, and there was a whole slew of information, and they have a contact number, and it's not a long wait time. I probably was waiting maybe like a minute, less than a minute. Somebody picked up and they were able to answer all of my questions. So again, it's about being educated and, spreading the word. Because a lot of veterans like myself, when I first filed my claim, like I said, I didn't even know I could file a claim. I went 12 years, so this is information you definitely want to share with other veterans as well. All right. Do you know about the White House VA hotline? I found out about this hotline about a year after I retired from the VA, and then found out that they implemented it a year before I retired. I was still working at the VA and didn't even have a clue. And this hotline, I've used it 3 separate times, and I filed a complaint on 2 VA employees, and the other one I was having an issue with a particular department at a VA medical center, but all 3 were against a VA medical center. And I was able to get some type of resolution, and I mean quick. And I take that back. One of them was about my CD, and I was able to get some resolution really quick. And I got a call back, not from just someone sitting at a front desk, but supervisors, and one was a director at a director level. So that's the number. But one thing that I did, they kept, when I call, they ask, what's your email? What's your email? I'm like, I I don't want an email. I want a call from somebody. So I didn't give him my email. So I got a call, and another vet said, well, they only email me. And I asked him, I said, did you give him the email address? He was like, yeah. So I was like, I knew then on my last two, I wasn't giving him my email because I wanted, even though you have a paper trail, I wanted someone to call me so I could explain what was going on. And I was able to get some resolution. And they're there 24/7, 365 days. Okay. And they give you, I think it's a reference number or a claim number or complaint number or something. So you want to start taking notes of who you talked to, the date, the time you talked to them, what was your complaint or your issue, and you want to get that number. Sometimes they may not give it to you, so you definitely, if they don't, you want to ask for it. So if you call back in, guess what? You got that number. All right. All right. My tips to my VA claims success. One, educate yourself on the VA claims process and do the research. Like I said, I filed my claim second day on the job. Somebody gave me some bad information because the first question I asked, what can I claim? They told me claim everything that hurt. So I put down everything that I was injured for in service and injured after service. At the end of the week of that training, guess what? When we went over the 5 ways of service connection, I knew half the things I wasn't going to get service connected because they did not fall under one of the 5 ways of service connection. Okay. So make sure you get educated. Confirm if you're eligible for benefits based on your character of discharge. Again, I talked to a lot of veterans, and I was talking to a veteran, had 5 periods of service, got a dishonorable discharge. Now think about this, there's 5 periods of service. In order to re-enlist, you need honorable, okay? So their last period was dishonorable. What that means is the VA has to do what they call a character of discharge. And this gentleman had went to lawyers, VSOs, and they kept telling, oh, nope, dishonorable, because it's all on 1 DD 214. So I was talking to the veteran, I said, well, wait a minute. Did they do a character discharge? He was like, no, nobody would take the case. Nobody would talk to me. So we educated the veteran on what a character discharge was. And guess what? They're service connected for conditions. So what that means is the last period of service is dishonorable. You cannot get any medical treatment at a VA center or any VA compensation for that period. The other 4 periods of service were good periods of service, and the veteran claimed those conditions during that period of time and was able to get service connected. Okay. Confirm that the disability diagnosis your claim is eligible under the 5 ways of service connection. Okay. Learn how to word the conditions you're claiming. Again, I used the example earlier about knee condition. You know, you want to be specific. Which knee? Do you have pain? Do you have reduced range of motion? Those are the criteria that's listed in 0, 20, 10, 30, 40 for those different conditions. Okay. Understand which claims forms you should use. Again, if you previously denied and you're coming back in, you reopen that claim and it's called a supplemental claim, what do you need? The VA form 20-0995. If you are doing appeal or high level review, that's a VA form 20-0996. Okay. Know the correct evidence to submit with your claim if you have any. Like I stated earlier, submitting too much and unnecessary paperwork. All right. Prepare yourself to be frustrated, angry, and confused. Like I said, I was working at the VA as a rating specialist, and what that means is if you receive a rating decision in the mail, I used to write those for the VA before I retired. Okay. And I was working my own claim at that time. So imagine another rater in another state denying me, and I was a rater, and I'm like, wait a minute, we got the same training, and you're telling me no. And that's where the frustration and the anger fell in for me. Okay, so, but I strongly feel that person giving me that information took, we had like a 5-minute conversation. It took me another 3.5, 4 years to correct that 5-minute mistake. Okay, so you want to make sure the information you're getting is from a credible source. And I thought it was from a credible source because the person that got promoted to a rating specialist, so she had already been at the VA for a couple of years. So I thought, okay, she knows what she's talking about. And it screwed me over big time, okay? Never give up, never give up, never give up. Again, when I talk to vets, they'll say, oh, I'm just frustrated, I'm gonna give up. And I'm like, really? I'm like, when you were in the military, did you ever give up? If you were trying to go from East, if you were in the Army, you were trying to go to E6 to E7, and did you give up? No, you made sure that your promotion packet before it went to Department of the Army was squared away. If you went to some type of in-service school, I would say outside of like Navy SEALs or Ranger or something like that, it's a little bit difficult. But just getting through basic and tech school or AIT, you didn't give up. All right. Last, keep all your paperwork that you send the VA and that the VA send you. I have a copy of my paper claims folder, and I have it now on CD, and I got 2 of them, and I keep these in a fireproof safe. Okay. Okay, that concludes the presentation. I know we only had up to 45 minutes, we're a little bit over an hour, but I got a few minutes for questions if anybody wants to ask any questions.
I actually do have questions, and just so you know, sir, it's okay that we went over the 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
This is good, vital information that I believe that somebody can use or pass along to somebody. So I'm perfectly fine with an extending our meeting at this time. If anybody does have to leave, we do understand. I do want to say thank you for attending. But I do have a question for you, sir.
Okay.
In the beginning, you had spoke about, for say, certain claims, or just how you just said, certain claims won't be able to be claimed because it happened after you had separated from service. But for instance, I had received the claim, I'm already receiving disability for, I'm gonna say, like you said, your knee, and I get into a car accident after I'm separated, and I'm having more problems. Is it, I've been denied because I've had knee issues, and it's worsened due to the car accident. Is that something that I should put in as an appeal? Because even though it originally happened in service, but the condition worsened due to the car accident. Would I be able to claim something of that sort?
Right. So if you're already service, you're saying you're already service connected for the knee condition. Okay. So that falls under one of the 5 ways of service connection: increase. Okay. So like I said, if you're already service connected, and let's just say it is the knee, it more than likely is going to be under diagnostic code 5260 or 5261. Excuse me, more than likely, but there's other diagnostic codes in the rating schedule for the knee. But normally you'll see it under 5260 and 5261. If you're already at 10%, they're giving you 10% for pain and possibly minimal reduced range of motion. And range of motion means how far you can bend that knee. Now, in order to go for increase, the range of motion has to have decreased more. It's not based on pain.
Okay.
The VA does not look at pain threshold. If you got one veteran, pain threshold as a 1, and the other veteran pain threshold is a 10, they look at it the same way. And that's for every joint. Okay. Now, when it comes to if it's, let's say, slight, moderate, or severe, then the degree of pain may come into consideration depending on that particular condition and what's affecting that particular condition. So if you're service connected for a knee condition at 10%, then you want to go first find the diagnostic code that it's for. And you can do that by calling, and I'll put it in the chat here, 800-827-1000. What you want to ask for is a disability breakdown letter. And that's what you want to ask for, a disability breakdown letter, to include the percentage, all the conditions that you're service connected for, the percentage and the diagnostic code. Because sometimes the people at the call center confuse it, summary letter, with a benefit summary letter. And that benefit summary letter, it lists the overall percentage that you're service connected for and the dollar amount that you're receiving every month. You can ask for that too, but what we're talking about when we're talking about increases and everything in the diagnostic codes, you want to ask for a disability breakdown letter to include a list of all your service connected conditions, the percentage for each one of those conditions, and the diagnostic code. So when you get that 4-digit diagnostic code, guess where you're going to go? To the rating schedule. You're going to type, or you can Google that diagnostic code, like you put in DC and let's just say 5261. And it should come up. You should see something in there, say VA rating schedule. When you come up, it'll come up as a Word document, and you scroll down. It might be like 4 or 5 pages long, and you scroll down till you see that diagnostic code. The diagnostic codes will be, I think, on the left, and you keep scrolling down till you see whatever diagnostic code you're looking for, and then you'll see it. Boom! It'll have all the different percentages and the criteria, and that's for any condition. Okay, and that's what a lot of veterans don't do. They'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna do a high level review. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do," So if you were thinking, well, I feel I should have been granted a 20% for my knee because I have more pain now, and I'm gonna do a high level review, more than likely you're gonna lose that. Because if you had an exam and that C&P exam shows a range of motion and pain, and you should be warranted 10% and 20%, you're not going to win that high level review because everything was done correctly. So now you've just been educated on how do you go up in an increase, instead of a lot of vets just file, and they keep filing, and they don't look at that rating decision. When you see that rating decision in the mail, go out back somewhere, go to the library in one of them little rooms, get in the closet with a flat, somewhere quiet, and you read that rating decision from top to bottom, read it twice, put it away, come back the next day and read it again. If you don't understand it, get somebody to review it for you and explain why they granted the benefit or why they didn't. And I even see veterans, they'll get service connected for a condition, get 100% permanent total, and they'll get a retro, maybe let's say $5,000, meaning it took the VA a couple of months to get it done. They had to retro the benefits. The veteran say, hey, and I'll ask them, like, well, did they give you the correct effective date? Well, I don't know. I was getting $1,400. Now I'm getting $31 a month. I'll look at the rating decision. I'll say, hey, wait a minute. This is not correct. And they did that to me. They gave me an incorrect effective date for a condition. It's supposed to went back 2 years, and they only went back 2 months. That was the difference between $5,000 and about $40,000. So you want to make sure, even though they grant the benefit, you want to make sure that that effective date is right and the percentage is right for that condition that you're claiming. The way you know that, you make sure you keep a copy of everything and you familiarize yourself with that particular condition that you're claiming. And when you get a copy of that C&P exam, you can see exactly what that examiner said. Now, if you do a VA exam at the VA C&P office, you can go to My Healthy Vet, and if you submitted a FOIA request to have access to your records, they can give you a copy of that C&P exam. But if you do it through a third-party contractor like QTC, LHI, or VS Services, you have to submit that FOIA request and get it on CD, because those contractors, they don't send it to VHA, which is Veterans Healthcare Administration. They send it to VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration, and that's what we're talking about. You got VBA and VHA. VHA is all the hospitals. VBA is the regional offices for what we're discussing today.
Okay.
And that disability breakdown letter, if you call them, they can email it to you. Okay. If they don't email it to you, you can hang the phone up, call back and get somebody else. Now, they're not going to tell you they can email it to you. They're just waiting, hope that you don't ask them to, because they're going to stick it in the mail, and then you may or may not get it. But if you want it, like right here, Johnny on the spot, hey, by the way, I want you to email it. So if they email you a summary letter, which shows how much you're getting a month, and just your overall percentage and address and stuff, that's not what you want. You want that summary, I call it a summary disability breakdown letter. If they act like they don't know what it is, hang up, call back, get somebody else. Because obviously that person is working from home and they probably watching ESPN or something, you know, and I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. Yeah, but do we have any other questions, comments? You know, give me some feedback. I do this for another nonprofit in the Tampa area. Used to do it in person, but obviously the whole COVID-19 pandemic has hindered that. Yep, you're welcome, Christopher. Appreciate it. But again, like I said, I went 12 years, didn't even know I could get benefits. And one day I sat down and I kind of just came up with a general number of would veterans say the money I left on the table if I would have filed for benefits 12 years ago. And man, that was a large amount. A large amount. But that really hurt. It was the treatment I could have gotten, like surgeries I had, MRIs and stuff where I was paying a large copay and stuff like that, and just different, now I get custom orthotics, my knee braces at no charge for injuries I sustained while on active duty, so that's probably what really hurt the most. But that's why I do what I do, because I want to make sure no one else has to go through or endure what I did.
Absolutely. I do have multiple questions, but I guess that's more of a personal. I guess the honest truth, if possible, I'm going to sign up for your services because I have a lot of questions when it comes to my VA disabilities, and I feel like you can be able to help me out and get me to where I need to be. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I could share my website in the chat. But my chat, I have, I'm sorry, not my chat, my website, I have a list of different trainings that I do, educational trainings that I do throughout the month. Hakeem and I was talking earlier, I did a contest. It's called it's a program called Kahoot. It's a website. You go to kahoot.com and you can ask, I created like 30 questions, and I invited 20 individuals, and we only ended up getting about, I think, 6, and it gave away a $200 cash prize, and just testing people's knowledge on the VA claims process. And we had a really good time, and veterans sharing some valuable information and some stuff that I even learned. But I do other trainings throughout the month, where to be reviewing DBQ's disability benefit questionnaires, talking about that, other VA forms. Do another educational training, which is about 3 hours long. It's a little bit deeper dive in what we talked about today. And those normally, it's like an hour of Q&A. Because there is, a lot of veterans have a lot of questions, but I do have YouTube videos. I have about 40 videos out there. So if you go to youtube.com and put in my name, Dwayne Kimball, that's a lot of free information there. Like I said, about 45 videos and 2 live streams. Didn't record the Kahoot quiz thing. I missed out. I forgot to hit the record button in Zoom, but nonetheless had a really good time. So it's a lot of information out there. So definitely go out and do your research and get educated.
Absolutely. Well, does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Dwayne? No. All right. So we're going to end the meeting. It's 11:30 at this time. We obviously went over, but it was very good information, but vital information for hopefully that somebody's able to use, and if not, they can pass it along to somebody else. Pass along websites, pass along the school information that Mr. Peterson put in. So we do not have anything else. I just want to remind everybody again, like I said, we have 2 job fairs going on. We have 2 job fairs. We have one today with the It's going to be virtual. The virtual hiring event is from 10 a.m. Obviously, past that time to 2 p.m. There's going to be multiple employers there, multiple positions open. So if you guys like, you can end this meeting and go straight into there if you're looking for something, looking for work. And we also have the Super Bowl hospitality and tourism hiring event on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is for employers that's looking to hire job seekers that is able to assist in the Super Bowl capacity. So it will be part-time, temporary positions available, and possibly also full-time positions. Just all really depends on your work ethic and if the company is needing to extend your contract. But if you guys do not have anything else, we will end this meeting. We will end this recording. Mr. Kimball, I want to say thank you again for this information, sir. It was very informative and very useful. So,
Also, I didn't know if your supervisor was still on the line. I wanted to stay on and ask him that question, if at all possible.
yes, sir. Mr. Bill he's down there. He is still in the meeting. So, Mr. Bill, can you stick around after the meeting is over, sir?
Sure.
All right. All right. If there isn't anything else, everybody, you guys have a good day, good week. Hopefully to see you guys at the job fair. Hey, Ahmed, how you doing, man? Just so you guys know, Ahmed Amir is our local veteran employment rep over there for the St. Pete Pinellas side. So very good guy to work with and speak to also. But thank you guys. You guys have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week.